at 9 p.m. on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle.
I could say the Bears' all-time leading scorer. I could say 18-year NFL veteran. But for now, I think I'll just say he's the head coach at Rolling Meadows. He's Robbie Gold. What made you go from playing football to coaching?
I was coaching another high school, fell in love with coaching. Football is a part of who I am, but it's also an opportunity for me to be able to give back and give these kids an opportunity at Rolling Meadows High School to understand what they could do as a group.
The Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle.
But the bottom line is this. The state of Illinois and the city of Chicago have to do what's best for the taxpayers. And the Chicago Bears need to do what's best for the Chicago Bears. The hope is that they can find something down the middle that is beneficial to not only the Bears organization on and off the field, but also the taxpayer, which is the fan that are filling up those stadiums and buying all that merchandise. That's who they owe it to.
The Sports Cubicle. Sunday nights at 9 on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle.
Economics professor at Smith College, Massachusetts, Andrew Zimbalist.
When Chicago is approached, or Illinois is approached for new public funds to build yet another stadium, it shouldn't be, hey, this is going to be an economic boom for the city. It's not going to be. It should be, how much is it worth to us culturally to keep these teams here?
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Chivari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
Caleb Williams and the Bears defeat Andy Dalton and the Panthers. Dave Canales and his club dropping to 1-4. Bears now 3-2.
And that call courtesy of Fox as the Chicago Bears beat the Carolina Panthers in Week 5 of the NFL season. Welcome to Sports from the Couch. Welcome to the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and it was a impressive win for the Chicago Bears. A lot of things went right. A lot of questions were answered, and we're going to break it all down in just a little bit. Before we get to that, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who showed up for the debut episode of Bear Era. Thank you to Blue Wire Network for getting us up on the air. Thank you to Homage for sponsoring us. Shout out to EJ and Kieran for holding it down, and for all of you who enjoyed my segment, Mike on the Mic. It was a lot of fun as we broke down and previewed what was going to be a Panthers versus Bears matchup. And one of the things we asked for, the main word you could put for it was dominate. And that's exactly what the Chicago Bears did. So why don't we look at some of the stats? And the thing I highlighted, the thing I was most interested in was the Chicago Bears defense taking advantage of Andy Dalton, who over the last 2 weeks has played really good ball, has really brought to life this Carolina offense. And this week he went 18 for 28, 136 yards and an interception, something that we wanted to see the Bears defense do, get their hands on the ball. And we saw it when it came to getting the ball on the carpet. We saw the Bears do that. And shout out to Chuba Hubbard, who with 13 carries, 97 yards and a touchdown, a lot of it was that big break that he had. And it felt like the Bears, for the most part, just kept that Carolina offense in check. I mean, there really wasn't much to talk about. They kept the entire offense, and it would be Deontay Johnson, and they don't let him do much with it. The Chicago Bears did exactly what they were supposed to when it came to the defensive side holding down Carolina. And on the offensive side, that allowed them to have the pressure off of Shane Waldron's play calling, and more importantly, taking the pressure off of Caleb Williams, who balled out. Caleb Williams, 20 for 29. 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. More importantly, no interceptions. DeAndre Swift, 21 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Roschon Johnson, 10 carries, 25 yards, 2 touchdowns, obviously on the goal line. A 36-10 win for the Chicago Bears, an impressive showing for them. A dominating performance by them. Just looking at some of these team stats, these are some of the things that total yards, 424, 296 passing yards, 128 rushing yards. On its own, pretty good, right? Especially after a win. But look at some of these numbers. 24 first downs. Only 1 sack allowed. Opposed to getting to Andy Dalton and Bryce Young 4 different times. Now, this is something they still need to fix, the 5 penalties. It didn't cost you this time because you were going against a bad team. But how about this? 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, compared to 2 fumbles and 1 interception of Carolina. The thing we were talking about, it always goes back to this. Can you take care of the ball? Those are the questions we asked for last week. The questions we asked, were Shane Waldron's play calling going to get better? I think it did this game. We asked if Caleb Williams was going to continue to develop. It did. The development of Caleb Williams has continued. He has continued to develop, and that touchdown to DJ Moore and some of the pinpoint accuracy this kid can do out of the pocket, and people disrespecting that he can't run the ball or that he's not some top-tier athlete, making plays with his legs, but more importantly, not relying on it. They answered all those questions, and I thought for the most part, other than the scuffle at the end of the game, the offensive line played pretty damn well. And Carolina's not a good football team, but their offensive line, their defensive line, it's not the worst, at least their grading wise in the PFF. But this was a game we all knew all the matchups led for the Chicago Bears. The one Achilles heel for this Bears team, and this is now 5 weeks going into week 6 heading into London, right, against Jacksonville. You can run on this team up the middle. They're going to give you the middle of the field. They're going to give you chunk yards. The key is they're going to close and clamp down when they get to that 20, right, in between the 20s. When they get into that red zone, though, they're clamping down. You're not doing anything. Their secondary is better than you. Their linebackers are better than you. They're counting on that. And if they get pressure from the front 4, this is a tough Bears defense. And this was the get-right type of game for both the offense and defense, and for the offensive line, and for the rushing game. This was a game you needed. Back-to-back wins, getting over 500, and now heading to London against a Jacksonville team that played a pretty damn good game against their division rival. A must-win for them. Back and forth. Number 1 overall pick versus number 1 overall pick. This game meant a lot for the Bears. Not to even add the fact that DJ Moore absolutely went nuts in his revenge game. Caleb Williams, his second 300-yard passing game in the season against a team that you traded to get that number 1 overall pick, while their number 1 overall pick and Bryce Young is on the bench. Carolina is a bad organization. Like, as much as people want to fault any of these other players on their team or, their coaching staff and the organization's bad. It's a toxic organization. At least it's been. I don't know how much you're going to change over the years with ownership and this type of perspective, but that's a bad organization. And time of possession, 33 minutes, nearly 34 minutes for the Chicago Bears of game time. That was big. Look at this. We could talk so much about the beautiful plays from Caleb Williams, connecting with DJ Moore. DJ Moore absolutely going nuts once again against his former team. We could highlight all that. I think the most important thing is to kind of put I don't know if it's a caveat or just a disclaimer, that it's calmed excitedness. It's a rational optimism after watching what the Chicago Bears did against the LA Rams and now the Carolina Panthers. There are still a lot of things this Bears team needs to get better at. I still want to see Shane Waldron get better as an offensive coordinator. I still want to see this defense get even more sacks, more deflected balls, more interceptions. Expect more from them. I want to see them turn those turnovers into points on defense. I want to see Caleb Williams continue to do what he did. Caleb Williams got the ball to six different receivers multiple times. Think about that for a second. Caleb Williams, in his 5th game, in which he threw his second 300-yard passing game, got the ball to 6 different receivers 2 times. Then you add what he did with DJ Moore, right? Adding that whole part of the story to it. this Chicago Bears win, I think this is very much if you're a Bears fan, you hold your hat to this, right? You tip your hat to the Bears team. And this was the game you wanted when all the talk has been about Jaden Daniels. This was the breakout performance. And Shane Waldron, Caleb Williams, Matt Eberflus, this defense, they all took a step forward. I think this week 5, 36-10 win, getting over 500, beating a team you're supposed to, which is not easy in the NFL. Yes, you are favorites. Yes, there's point spreads that are crazy. Yes, there are times where everybody knows you should win a game. That doesn't mean you're going to. Week to week, the NFL is crazy. So for the Bears to not only beat the team they're supposed to, they did it the way they were supposed to. And there weren't many hiccups along the way. But I think it's fair to say all that the cautious optimism, the rational excitement is valid because you could see how good it can get. You've seen how good it can get, but you see if they make some of these mistakes against the top tier teams, like when you face Minnesota, right? Later on in this season, when you face Detroit, when you face Green Bay, that's going to cost you. And it's been a question we've asked the last few weeks. What are the expectations? My expectations for this Bears team, long season, and what we promised that we were only going to do week to week, the week before, the week that was, the week that is. The Bears have a chance to get 2 games over 500, to stay competitive at the NFC North, and to win the games they're supposed to. And in the NFL, that's all you can ask for right now in September, October, and November. Because when we get to December, right, and everything is on the line, you got to put yourself in the best position. And if Caleb Williams continues to develop, if Shane Waldron continues to develop as a coordinator, as a play caller for Caleb, if Caleb gets, comfortable enough by the time we're seeing this now, by the time we get to what he's going to have to go against Flores' Minnesota Vikings defense, right? Maybe there is some type of confidence you can have of number 18 going in there and being like, it's going to be close. He's going to give us a chance to win. If you're a Bears player, if you're in the Bears organization. The Bears have been in all their games all season. In the NFL, everybody could flip records, right? Talk about they should be this, they should be this, they should be this. Bears can have an argument that they could and should be 4-1 with a chance to have been 5-1. But reality is you're 3-2. You took care of business. Now you get into a jet, you go across the pond, and you play the Jaguars. And you get a chance to go 2 games over 500. And a team in Jacksonville that just got their first win, an emotional one. You have now a chance to celebrate this big win and get back to work. And that's what we're doing here on the Sports Cubicle, on Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. The Chicago Bears now 3-2 in the NFL season after a 36-10 win over the Carolina Panthers. Caleb Williams scoring 20 for 29, 304 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 21 carries, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. Roschon Johnson, 10 carries, 25 yards, 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore, 5 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, an absolute dominating performance by the Chicago Bears offense and the defense. The defense getting 2 fumbles and an interceptions, a great win for Chicago. But looking into week 6, October 13th, across the pond, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chicago Bears. The number 1 overall pick for Jacksonville a few years back versus the number 1 overall pick for the Chicago Bears in Caleb Williams. Heisman Trophy galore. It might be, hint, hint, my matchup highlight storyline of the week on this week's edition of Bear Era. That's going to be coming out later on this week over on the Bear Era YouTube channel. Shout out to Blue Wire Podcast Network and our friends over at Homage. Check them out over there. It's all the pressure once again on 2 young quarterbacks. Interesting to put Caleb Williams on a winning streak, feeling good, leaving Chicago now to go to a neutral site on a business trip to London, where there's going to be a lot of fanfare. There's going to be a lot of hype, and Bears fans travel well. And we know there's a lot of Jaguars fans there. We know there's a lot of just international NFL fans there. Shout out to Kieran and all the boys over there at the Irish show. So I think this is going to be fun because Trevor Lawrence is going to have to go against a really nasty secondary and a really nasty linebacker crew and a really, really nasty, right now playing pretty damn well, Bears front four. It's not going to be easy for ETN. It's not going to be easy for Kirk. It's not going to be easy for Trevor. It's not going to be easy for this Jaguars team. After an emotional win like they just had, and the Chicago Bears, this is a business trip for them. We can tell you that much, right? Like talking to people that are at Hallis Hall, this is a very loose, very close, very, competent team. Make mistakes. They're not perfect, right? We know in the NFL, there's maybe 3 top-tier teams, there's 3 bottom dwellers, and then there's the rest, right? They try to figure it out as the season goes along. The Bears are going to go into this game with no pressure. Caleb Williams is always going to have the inherent pressure of being the number 1 overall pick, the superstar, the quarterback, the savior of Chicago, quote, all the stuff, right? Trevor Lawrence has got to win. 25-year-old, been in the league for a long time, big money deals, sponsorships. Got to take care of business now, especially when that bad man and CJ Stroud is in that division. That it's not going to be easy for Jacksonville, but I'm expecting the Bears to enjoy this win, to get things corrected, that they got things. I still want to see better play from the offensive line. I still want to see less penalties. I want to see more defensive scoring. And I want to see the continuing development of Caleb Williams. I want to see even more chemistry develop between him and DJ Moore. I want to see Roman Dunze snap and have himself a DJ Moore-esque type of game. And we're all waiting for that big Keenan Allen 2-touchdown game. Shout out to DeAndre Swift for playing really good football the last few weeks, both as a runner and a pass catcher. And the ultimate help for an offensive lineman, for any offensive line, is to run the ball. It's a lot easier to run block than it is to pass block. But a fun win, a fun Sunday. Shout out to my brother Alex and my amazing sister-in-law Jen. They were at the Bears game. They said the place was rocking. They said it was an amazing, beautiful day in Chicago. So Bears fans showed up, and it was a fun game. And Bears fans are being delivered some fun football and some exciting hopes of the future. And while maybe there's always in the NFL to be cautious, there's always a little room for some type of skepticism and to be a little, jaded towards the NFL. But I think rational expectations, and the Bears won a game that made it a very easy Sunday for Chicago Bears fans. But we want to know your thoughts. The Chicago Bears now 3-2 after a 36-10 win over the Carolina Panthers. They now get ready to jump on a jet and head over the pond to jolly old London, jolly old England, the UK. They are heading for a matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think about the big Week 5 win? And what do you think about the huge Week 6 matchup? I think something really fast that we need to hit on is the standings. I think it's time to watch standings, right? It's standings time. The NFC North. All the teams are over 500, of course, when the Bears start to get good, right? The Vikings at 5-0, the Lions at 3-1, the Bears at 3-2, and the Packers are at 3-2 because of alphabetical order. The Packers are 4th in the NFC North, and that's how it should be. Don't at me. Let us know your thoughts, how you think this is going to shake out in the month of October. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV, at Couch Sports Talk. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. You can follow Sports from the Couch over at WCPT SoundCloud, WCPT 820, and of course, heartlandsignal.com. What else we got? We got the YouTube channel. Check us out at The Sports Cubicle. Search The Sports Cubicle or Sports from the Couch, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And of course, join us this week for Bear Era as EJ Kieran and myself preview the huge matchup between the two #1 overall picks over the last few years, Trevor Lawrence and his Jacksonville Jaguars against Caleb Williams and his Chicago Bears. That's Bear Era on YouTube. Thank you all so much. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you for week 6 here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch as the now 3-2 Chicago Bears beat the Carolina Panthers 36-10. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.
All-time leading scorer. I could say 18-year NFL veteran. But for now, I think I'll just say he's the head coach at Rolling Meadows. He's Robbie Gold. What made you go from playing football to coaching?
I was coaching in another high school, fell in love with coaching. Football is a part of who I am, but it's also an opportunity for me to be able to give back and give these kids an opportunity at Rolling Meadows High School to understand what they could do as a group.
The Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle.
But the bottom line is this: the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago have to do what's best for the taxpayers. And the Chicago Bears need to do what's best for the Chicago Bears. The hope is that they can find something down the middle that is beneficial to not only the Bears organization on and off the field, but also the taxpayer, which is the fan that are filling up those stadiums and buying all that merchandise. That's who they owe it to.
The Sports Cubicle. Sunday nights at 9 on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle.
Economics professor at Smith College, Massachusetts, Andrew Zimbalist.
When Chicago is approached, or Illinois is approached for new public funds to build yet another stadium, it shouldn't be, hey, this is going to be an economic boon for the city. It's not going to be. It should be, how much is it worth to us culturally to keep these teams here?
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Chivari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.